right, everybody. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is the Mojaloop Open Source Community Meeting, number 27. Now, if it's not too much to ask, I'm going to ask everybody in the room, kindly stand. Everyone in the room, kindly stand. Excellent. Fantastic. Now, if you're on Zoom, I believe you should be able to raise your hand. So you can raise your hand as well. Now, please pay very keen attention. Please focus. If this is your if you've been to more than 7 community meetings, 7. If you've been to more than 7 community meetings, kindly sit down. It's only a handful, actually. It's only a handful. Nia, I thought you've been to more than 7 since Zanzibar. 6, okay. If you've been to more than 6, kindly sit down. Okay. If you've been to more than 5 community meetings, kindly sit. Wow. If you've been to more than 4 community meetings, kindly sit. 4 community meetings means if you attended a community meeting in the last 2 years. If you've been to more than 3, Miller, you've been to all of them, right? Yeah. If you've been to more than 3 community meetings, please sit down. Wow. I was not expecting that. Yes, Jonathan, I think by now you're a veteran. All right, if you've been to more than 2 community meetings, please sit down. So I'm guessing everybody standing up, this is your first or second. All right. If it is your second community meeting, please sit down. These are the newbies in the room. A round of applause for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're seated next to them, kindly shake their hands and give them a warm welcome. Tell them thank you so much for joining us for this community meeting. Fantastic. It's great to have you all here. Amazing. Amazing. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Every community meeting, we start off our in this particular way, just to give you a sense of who's in the room, but more importantly, to show you that our community is growing. We call this the Mojaloop Open Source Community Meeting because at the very foundation of Mojaloop, we've got people like you and me who actively contribute and participate in our community to make Mojaloop what it is today. And this week, we have a significant number of milestones that you've all contributed to. And I do not want it to be lost on you that the people who are building this Mojaloop open source software, the people advocating for it, the people deploying it, there's a huge community behind this. And we do want to acknowledge your presence and effort. And so for everything that you have all done to make this, to bring Mojaloop to where it is, I'd like us all to give a round of applause. Thank you so much for everything you do. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Simeon Oriko. I am the Director of Community at the Mojaloop Foundation and will be your host for the community meeting this week. We have an exciting 3 days. Now, the veterans will tell you a couple of secrets of our community meeting, and I want to share them openly with everybody so that right from the word go, you know what to expect, you know what to happen. A lot happens in this room. We will have many panels, many presentations. You will hear very many wonderful things from adopters, from developers, from a wide range of community members, which is all important. However, there's a lot of amazing other things that happens outside this room. We have intentionally structured our program to give you as much time as possible to have meetings, to interact with each other, to make things happen. For that reason, our program starts at 10 a.m. UTC. That gives you the morning to have your breakfast meetings, to have your side meetings. Our lunch meeting will happen from 10 o'clock, from 12:30 to 2 p.m. That gives you a whole hour for you to have your lunch meetings as well and to connect with each other. And we aim to finish our program by 4 o'clock so that you have some time after the end of the day to also connect with each other, have any meetings and any discussions that you need to have. So by all means, please take advantage of these time slots. These time slots are part of our program. They're not some blank space. They're crafted specifically for you to use. And so that would be lovely to have you all take advantage of that. Now, secondly, this is the first time in our program that we're having translation, live translation. We have translation in French and in English. I'd like to walk you through how you were able to access it. Now, for presenters and speakers who will be up on stage, you're more than welcome to speak in either of the languages you're most comfortable in, either in French or in English. At your desk, you've got a little translation device with headphones attached to it. There are two channels in there. There's channel 1, which is set to English, and there's channel 2, which is set to French. How you can change that is we've got 3 buttons, an on and off button, and a left and a right button. If you want to change the channel, you need to long press on the left or right button. And then that will allow, it will start blinking, and you can change it to either channel. Channel 1 is English, channel 2 is French. So please take the opportunity to set it to whatever channel you want it to listen into, and dial in there, and you should be able to access it. Now, for our participants on Zoom, at the bottom of your screen, you should see a translation button. And you can, when you click on that button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you can set it to either English or French, whatever you're most comfortable with. So once you set it, please do not fidget around with it too much. If you need some help, just raise your hand. Somebody from the translation team will be able to come and configure the device for you, or ask the person next to you who's figured it out. They'll be able to assist you. So we will have some speakers speaking in French. So just have your devices standby, and it should be able to work out well for most people. Excellent. A couple of other small nitty-gritty things that I want to share with you. Most of you have figured this out by now, but we have the bathrooms out these doors, and to your right at the end of the hallway, that's where the bathrooms are if you need to use the washrooms. Excellent. We start off our program not with a speech this morning, but with a reality check. We work remotely, we send lots of emails, we are often stuck in many Zoom meetings during the week and in our interactions as we build Mojaloop on a day-to-day basis. But have you ever wondered what a day in the life of a Mojaloop contributor looks like? With many grateful thanks to the Gates Foundation team, we've produced a video that focuses on one of our community members and active contributors who is actively engaged in a deployment. And we'd like to show this video to you now to give you an example of what it looks like on a day-to-day basis to be actively contributing and deploying Mojaloop. So we'll play that video, after which I will invite our Executive Director, Paula Hunter, to come up on stage and take over from there. Thank you very much.
What I want to do is welcome a number of VIPs that are in the room with us today. We have deputy governors from several banks, including Dr. Musa Dukuli from the Central Bank of Liberia. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming. We have Dr. Joseph Tucker from the Central Bank of Sierra Leone. En route, so hopefully you'll get to meet him later in the day. Dr. Paul Mendu from the Central Bank of the Gambia. Yeah. Thank you for coming. We also have directors of payments. Miata Pute from the Central Bank of Liberia. No, she's here. I met her earlier today. Thank you, Miata, for coming. Director Titi from the Bank of Uganda. Director Titi. I know he's here. Yep. And Miriam Kemahuza from the Bank of Zambia. And I also like to make a special introduction and welcome to Jediah Ndebele, the CEO of Kamesa Clearinghouse. Thanks for coming, Jedidah. Appreciate it. So there's also many other folks in the room that I would encourage you to meet. I'd like to list them all, but in the interest of time, we'll progress, and Steve may actually shout a few other folks that we'd like you to meet as you're here this week. I think it's important to start our events with our mission. Our mission is to increase financial inclusion. And so that's why we exist. That's why the Mojaloop team is on the ground here in what country am I in? Sorry, in Ghana. We've done 27 of these meetings, and we try to change the venue each time. So I sometimes get confused as to where I am. But the reason I'm here and my team is here is what we want to do is work with organizations like CRISA and the central banks that are here today in creating interoperable payment systems that enable digital financial services for all. And so that's our reason for being. We're a nonprofit. We're not here to sell anything. We're here really to make an impact in your communities and with your citizens. So our priorities are to engage with the community across the entire ecosystem to support initiatives that are in alignment with that mission. So the first and most important thing we need to do with regard to the Mojaloop platform is to understand the requirements, and those requirements evolve. So having the banks here, having the directors of payments here allows us to understand your needs today and in the future, and make plans for how we enhance the Mojaloop platform. Of course, development is an important part of that. We have a number of engineers in the room here today from the Mojaloop Foundation, but equally important is from our community that continue to work on work streams to enhance and maintain the platform. We do a fair amount of advocacy and education to make sure that the marketplace understands what Mojaloop is, how it can benefit your citizens, and help you sell it to other folks within your country that may have a vested interest in having an interoperable instant payment system. We do invest in training. We have over 200 hours of courses developed for folks across the spectrum of the Mojaloop deployment cycle. But we also do face-to-face workshops and online sessions as well to make sure that we're building capacity across the ecosystem to deliver and maintain a successful deployment. And then deployments, what we want to make sure is that we help you in your planning and preparation for deploying Mojaloop, and then your operation of Mojaloop. So across those various activities, the Mojaloop team is engaged and listening and wanting to hear your experiences as you go through this journey and what your requirements are as the world evolves. And even if we look over the last 5 years, the Mojaloop platform has been evolving quite significantly from a functionality standpoint, from a performance standpoint, security. All of those things are really important to us. And so as you sit in sessions over the course of this week, you'll be hearing about new features and functionalities of the platform, but also we want to hear back from you as to what's on your wish list. So, and that's part of the role of the community. We have folks in here that are consultants, systems integrators, technical solution providers, training organizations, and other biz ops entities. These Mojaloop community members are very active during the journey to deploy a Mojaloop system. They're also active in our various work streams to ensure that as we develop new functionality and features, that they're meeting the customer requirements. They also provide local capacity. So in many cases, a modular deployment requires more than just the central bank staff or the hub operator staff. So these are ways to supplement your own teams with skilled professionals that can help you advance your deployment. So all very important contributors to the community. It's not just about code, it's about getting you to a successful deployment. As far as the governance structure of the Modular Foundation, we are a nonprofit corporation. All of our work is done as a public good. Our open source licenses are in place for all code, documentation, any work product that we conduct is offered freely to the marketplace, no strings attached. That said, what we hope is if you take advantage of those open source licenses and the code is that you become an active member of the community in whatever way that suits you best, but also helps advance the modular platform for the collective community. The operations and foundation staff is funded by philanthropic grants and by membership dues. So there's a number of folks in the room that I say thank you to that help keep us running. We are not, as I said, we're a nonprofit. We don't sell software. We don't sell services. So those philanthropic partners are critically important. We also like to operate very transparently from a governance standpoint. We have what you would call a traditional board of directors that I report to as the executive director. We also have a technical governing board, which is comprised of community members. The technical governing board really oversees our strategic direction from a technology standpoint to ensure that the platform is advancing and consistent with our design objectives. We have a community council, again, comprised of members of the community. And that community council is the eyes and ears of this community that can be as many as 1,000 people sometimes that represent all facets of the modular deployment cycle. We want to make sure we're delivering what they need, whether it be training or support or engagement, but that they're also contributing back as well. We have a product council. You'll be hearing from Paul Macon later this week. He chairs the product council, and that team is really focused on market requirements and our roadmap, overseeing our roadmap and the various work streams that are contributing to the releases of the modular platform. Notably, we've just released version 17 in the last several weeks. So thanks to everyone that made that happen. So it was a lot of work, but I think you'll hear later this week about some exciting new features in release 17. We have a design authority, again, community members that oversee any contributions of code to the modular platform to ensure that they adhere to our design principles and our specifications. So it's not just the Moduloop Foundation that's overseeing the code base. We have skilled experts across the world that are looking at our code, looking at our architecture, and making sure that it's sound and safe to use. And then finally, we have a change control board, and that change control board oversees our APIs and enhances them and works with entities like ISO and BIS and others to ensure that our APIs are open, they're enhanced, and they're taking advantage of new trends and projects that are happening out in the marketplace. So again, we like to be very transparent. We have open meetings, minutes are posted. So if you want to become involved in any of these activities, we'd be happy to have you. Myself, I'm located in the United States, if you couldn't tell from my accent, but I'm the only US employee. We are a very global organization. Our largest footprint is here on the continent in Africa, but we also have staff in India, Spain, and the UK. So truly a global, in Singapore, sorry, Julie. So we do have a truly diverse set of staff in the organization. And hopefully they've been able to engage with you directly. It's not just at these meetings that we want to see you face to face, but we hope to see you in your local country. So with that, I just again wanted to thank you for coming. I know your days are busy, but we appreciate your attention. We appreciate your feedback and input to us in your journey with instant payments. And I'd like to now introduce Steve Haley, our Director of Market Development and Partnerships. He's going to talk about deployments and country activity.
Thank you. Thanks, Paula. So Paula was talking a lot about who we are, and I'm going to talk a lot about now what are some of the things that we're working on. Let's see. All right, so what's been keeping us busy, how to engage with us, and kind of an overall update of what we've been doing this year. All right. So before I get into this list, I do want to mention something that we're all here, like Paula said. I think you're all here because you care about inclusive instant payments. You want to drive financial inclusion through interoperable instant payment systems. Now, every country here is at a different stage of their journey. No one is ever complete. So there's no one who has arrived in the whole world. And so some people have an instant payment system. They want to make it more inclusive. Some of you don't have an instant payment system. Some of you have a card system. You want to introduce instant payment systems. And some of you are looking at the policy and governance questions, and some of you are looking at the technology questions. So we've got a pretty wide mix of people here. So I think we've done our best to make sure that we provide a little bit of work and interesting topics for everyone, but definitely probably a few of the regulators in the room might not be as interested in some of let's say as much as I'm excited about the Tiger Beetle integration, potentially not as interesting for some of the deputy governors. And so as we get into, we have both the highly technical areas, but then also some policy areas like talking about cross-border FX and settlement, talking about the FATF Recommendation 16 changes that are coming up, and talking about ISO 20022, things that matter to you, whether or not Mojaloop matters to you, we hope. And then again, we will have some more technical ones. One in particular I'd like to call out is the dispute management session. I'm personally quite excited about it because Pramesh from RSwitch, I think this is our first work stream that is being led by a national switch operator, which is hopefully where all of them will go eventually, but would love to call out RSwitch for leading that. So please pay attention to that one. So with that, let me get into a little bit of progress we've made and who's here. You can see the list of the countries who are present. The countries who are present, these are people from central banks or national switch operators. So going through the list, Ghana, Rwanda, we've talked about quite a bit with RSwitches here. We've even got CEO of AFR, Jean Bosco here, welcome, and wired in. So like Paula said, anyone interested in a project that's just gone live, please reach out to the Rwandan team everywhere from the support organizations like AFR and Africanunda to the hub operator in RSwitch to the system integrator with Wired In, can give you all the different components of it. Uganda, Kenya, Zambia, we've already mentioned. I would like to call out Somaliland has recently signed a letter of intent to kick off a proof of concept. And so welcome Somaliland to their first Mojaloop convening. Guinea, Cape Verde, Togo, the Gambia, and I'll call out the Gambia and Liberia. Governors have also signed letters to go live with Mojaloop, an intention to kick off full projects with Mojaloop, which we're incredibly excited about. Malawi, Malaysia, I'd like to call out one interesting comment about Azlina being here from PayNet in Malaysia is that PayNet is live and has a great IPS running right now. No intention that they might go over towards Mojaloop, but what we hope is that this community becomes something bigger than just how do you deploy Mojaloop? What is the technology? But there's so much more than technology to a successful instant and inclusive payment system. And so we very much hope that our community expands beyond just those using Mojaloop or thinking about using Mojaloop. So I'd really like to thank Azlina for making the very long trip to come join us. The Philippines with Vice from Higali here, thank you very much, as well as Sierra Leone and South Sudan, which I like to call out South Sudan. Actually, I don't know if they ended up making it. It was down to the wire, but they also have signed, their governor has signed an agreement to kick off a full Mojaloop program, which we are also very excited about. So three central bank governors who have decided to kick off full Mojaloop projects this year. We are incredibly excited about that. All right. So for anyone who has been here to more than 7, I think this list is more than 7 of these convenings. This list is quite exciting. All right, and I think we've said it several times, but I mean, the big news and the huge congratulations to the RSwitch team for the newest version of eCash going live using Mojaloop for merchant payments. And again, massive congratulations, not just to RSwitch, but everybody who supported them, like WiredIn, AFR, and Africanunda, who's been really guiding this project. And you heard from Sharon and Risa. So I do want to, I hope that this highlights something. I've just mentioned a whole group of organizations here. Yes, RSwitch running eCash is the center of it, but they're not, the national hub operator is not alone in this journey. It does require other folks like AFR, like RSwitch, like BNR, and organizations like Africanunda really to help push that. And without the expertise of technologists like WiredIn, it's also not possible. So please do speak to the folks from Rwanda about how all of those different organizations came together on this one mission. All right, so I'm talking about some of the programs that we currently have running. A few of you may have heard about these things, but I want to really talk a little bit more about them so we have some clarity about things we're working on. First is the Accelerator program. This is specifically targeted at system integrators, and it's an advanced course of study to get system integrators onboarded and ready to use Mojaloop and deploy Mojaloop, connect into Mojaloop as quickly as possible with both training and practical experience. In the past, we did it by cohorts of country, but frankly, we just can't keep up with that anymore. And so we've moved to a model where we're doing it in cohorts in between each Mojaloop convening. With the next one kicking off, and I think the applications close at the end of this week, right? If anybody has any more system integrators that you think in your countries you would like to participate in the Accelerator program, please make sure to talk to Simeon. There are already 20 system integrators who have applied to be in the next cohort from, I think, about 6 or 7 countries. And so incredibly excited with the growth of demand from the Accelerator program. And the purpose of the Accelerator program is that we hope that a national instant inclusive payment system has the support, the technical support needed to maintain and keep that system running, to integrate new use cases as close to home as possible. And so as you start thinking about growing and building an instant payment system using Mojaloop, we want to make sure that the tech resources in your country are ready when that project kicks off. And more importantly, they're ready to maintain it when it goes live. And as an example, I think everyone in this room knows that payment systems often go down. It's a huge surprise, but there are very often problems with payment systems. That can become incredibly dangerous when your country starts depending on an instant payment system. So the great thing of being successful and having scale is that people use your instant payment system every day. But what we've seen, like in where I'm living in India, UPI is one of the most amazing examples of an instant payment system. But this month alone, there's been 3 big outages, and they've got all of the resources they need in the country to work on that. But when it goes down, even for a few minutes, the economy really stops. And we need to make sure that when that happens, you have the support as close to home as you possibly can have it. And a lot of people like to ask, if something goes wrong, whose throat do I choke? Like to say, hopefully somebody who you can actually reach. Because if the person who's responsible is in a different time zone, in a different country, and choke their throat. And your citizens won't care if you say, well, our vendor's in a different time zone, they're not awake yet. As soon as they wake up, we'll get this fixed. They don't need to hear that. They just need to know that they just need to blame you for the system being down. So that's the purpose of the accelerator program, is to make sure that you have the adequate support as close to you as possible to keep your system up and running. I do want to highlight with the accelerator program is that most of it's actually based on the Moduloop training program. So even if you have system integrators or technologists, people on your team who you would like to go through the accelerator program, for whatever reason they don't make it, you can actually do all of the training online yourself. So please go to the Moduloop training. You can go to moduloop.io/training, and you can find out about the Moduloop training program. There's no secret sauce to the accelerator program. It's mostly based off of the training program. The service provider directory is something we're quite excited about. And a lot of the service providers have come out of the accelerator program. Up until a few months ago, we only had 7 listed. Now we're up to, it says 18, but I think we have 20 now as well, with Access Partners in partnership in Asia has just joined. And I think there's one more as well. And so some of these service providers can provide you services on governance, project management, scheme rules, and then some of them can do integrations and do your implementation from a technical side. So our service providers are both. But I want to make sure that all of the potential adopters here understand who's currently out there. And then again, we're hoping to add more from each one of your countries as you start doing your implementation. I do want to clarify though that we don't necessarily curate this list. And so we meet with the service providers regularly. We hope that we can build them into part of the community and it supports their business. But when it comes to actually selecting the service provider for the hub operators and central banks, that's completely up to you. We can help you with the procurement process, but we don't want to get in the middle of telling you who you should hire. Who you should hire should be completely up to you. No one should ever tell you that. So we have this list, we maintain relationships with them, but we don't want to get in the middle of helping you, of deciding for you. But we will again help you with the procurement process. We're also launching the partner program, and that's organizations that want to improve the Moduloop product, but also organizations that want to drive adoption of instant inclusive payment systems, but don't necessarily fit into the service provider category. So there's 4 listed here: Africananda, who's been a great partner of ours for many years now, FNA, Glyph, and MOSIP, who are all providing components, other DPGs providing components to Moduloop and adjacent products. And so we are very rapidly looking to expand the members of our partner program. I think that kicks off everything I want to talk about, where we've been over the past year. It's incredibly exciting for those of us who have been here for a while. This past year has been very, very busy and exciting. And again, I want to welcome everybody to the session. And any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Simeon, I think that includes me. So thank you very much all for being here. And I'll see you on stage.